What's up, everybody? This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to play my intro. I still ask that you like the video. My heart is like really hurting for Shanquella's family. I see you guys coming in. When I saw this, I'm going to read to you guys both what the neighborhood talk said and what the shade room said. I don't understand how a American citizen can go somewhere, end up unalived, and it feels like the only people who care are the family. It feels like the only people who care are us, the people who like are moving the movement forward to seek justice. But I don't know in any other situation, and I'm gonna be extremely real with you guys right now. I don't know any other situation, if it were not for a person of color, that we would not send planes, trains, and automobiles to bring the people to justice who did this. I'm extremely hurt by this. I'm extremely upset by this. And I'm very confused. Hold on one second. I'm confused. So what they're saying is, federal prosecutors will not file criminal charges in the death of Shanquella Robinson, they announced in a statement Wednesday. Based on the results of the autopsy and after a careful deliberation and review of the investigative materials by both U.S. attorneys' offices, federal prosecutors informed Ms. Robinson's family today that the available evidence does not support a federal prosecution. She went to Mexico alive. She came back from Mexico not alive. There have been autopsy reports. There's video footage of this young lady saying, "I'm not going to fight you." What more do you need to hear from somebody to recognize the fact that they were not at fault in this and that they are now gone? I'm pretty sure, let me put my banner up. I'm pretty sure the people who did this are now feeling like they've gotten away with this. Let me keep going. Uh, if you can recall, video surfaced showing Robinson visibly drunk, involved in a fight where she was violently beaten. I don't think that she was involved in a fight. I think that she was attacked. That's the operative word. It was not a fight. It was an attack. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jalea. If you want to come up, I'm going to drop the link. This is one of those times where this is what having a community is all about, where everybody can talk and give their opinions. Let me see. So let's go back. It says United States Attorney Dina King and the FBI said there was not enough evidence of wrongdoing to issue criminal charges in this case. The evidence was that she's no longer with us. This wasn't just an attack where she was like maimed or injured. She went back, or she came back to the United States in a very poor condition after. Hey, everybody! I see you guys coming in. I just definitely, please like the video. We got to let YouTube know. We got to do the YouTube things. But this is one of those where I just kind of wanted to come out and talk to you guys. I don't understand not enough evidence of wrongdoing. What is the measure of evidence needed when there's video of her saying, "I'm not going to fight you." And then the next thing you know, all of the people involved return to the United States and she's left. I don't know. I mean, we do have some stuff. I see people saying the authorities from Mexico might have messed up the crime scene because it wasn't taken seriously. I don't think people around the world, just to be honest with you, I don't, as a person of color, I don't think a lot of times around the world we are valued, our lives are valued. I, I just feel like if the circumstances were different, America would have sent planes, trains, automobiles, and the entire FBI would be over there investigating. And until we have that type of response for people of color, then we're going to need to continue to speak out. It's absolutely heartbreaking, absolutely messed up. I did drop the link. If anybody wants to come up and talk, you're more than welcome to share your feelings, your thoughts. That's what these kind of lives are about. But let's see what the Shade Room had to say because it was a little bit different. When I saw this, it was just like, I want to know what more I can do. What can I do to help the family? Around here, the straight shooters, we help out where we can. And if I could do something to help, I definitely will. Jalea, if you want to come up, again, you're more than welcome to do so. I have dropped the link. For all of you guys just coming in, we still got to do the YouTube stuff. Please like the video, but let's see what the Shade Room had to say. It says on Wednesday, U.S. officials announced they would not be pursuing criminal charges following the 2022 death of Shanquella Robinson. According to the Charlotte Observer, the U.S. Attorney's Office in North Carolina shared that the FBI and federal prosecutors have concluded their investigation into Shanquella's death. At the moment, it is not clear how this will affect the requested extradition the Mexican authorities issued last year. It was previously reported that Mexican officials issued a warrant for femicide for Dejanay Jackson. Now, Dejanay is the one who everybody jumped on thinking that she was a trans woman, and she was not. One of the people Shanquella had been traveling with at the time of her death. Nonetheless, U.S. officials did clarify that Dejanay is not a criminal suspect. However, wait, what? So who are the suspects? Are they identifying anybody who's the suspect? Like, what is going on there? Who are the suspects, U.S. Department of Justice? We have some of the best career FBI agents, attorneys in America. I feel like there's something more going on, and I can't like piece that together because you don't need any more evidence. Then she's no longer with us. That's all the evidence that you need. It says, look at Yesenia. I forgot her last name, but the case was similar. The husband actually committed crimes in the U.S., and the mother was of the victim stayed in there. I'll check it out. You guys, I mean, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good. This should have been a situation because I believe the father said at a press conference that Shanquella was his only child and that his holidays, everything now is affected. He has no grandchildren. He doesn't feel like his legacy will continue. He had a hardworking daughter who was an entrepreneur, who was a go-getter, who just took a vacation with the wrong people. And now you have a situation where your country, who is supposed to be there to protect you, is failing her. And I mean, maybe I'm missing something. Again, the link has been dropped. Anybody is more than welcome to come up and share their thoughts. When stuff like this happens, if you're new to the channel, I like to come out and give you guys a voice on these matters because I know I'm not the only one that was impacted by this. It says, however, the Department of Justice or Department of States did not detail their position on extradition. U.S. attorneys Sandra J. Harstein and Dina G. King said in a statement, based on the results of the autopsy and after careful deliberation and review of the investigative materials by both the U.S. Attorney's Office, federal prosecutors informed Ms. Robinson's family today that the available evidence does not support a federal prosecution. So, what does support a prosecution? Yes, they have a whole video. I mean, the people were laughing on the video. What? I don't know. I mean, I guess I probably have to talk to an attorney about this because this doesn't make sense to me. I'm a layman. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a, internet journalist and detective. I don't know in what situation does a person, let's see. They are all based in North Carolina, but their parents sent them out of the state. I'm assuming you mean, again, Jalea Knight, you are more than welcome to come up if you want to tell us some stuff that you might know. You said that you went to school with her. It might give a voice because technically we haven't actually spoken to anybody who knows her directly. I have been in contact with a young man who put together a Justice for Shanquella I don't know, like a initiative to try to drum up attention and support for the United States to do something about this. But I'm gonna have to see what he has to say about it. So that's interesting. So none of the people who were involved in this are now in North Carolina. Why would you be running? The crime happened in Mexico. Yes, the crime did happen in Mexico. This is so freaking tragic from this smart, beautiful, and by all accounts, a vibrant young woman, yet no one is paying for this obvious. Sad, but definitely could be true. My prayers are going out to the family. I think we should all be sending whatever kind of support that we can because you're having press conferences. You've hired Ben Crump. You have a voice. But for some reason, I just feel this is just me. This is me being as real as I can with y'all. I feel like because this is a woman of color, this is why this is not being taken as serious as it should be. No, your safety should not be threatened on vacation. If an American did this to another American, but did it in another country, why are you still not protected as an American citizen? It just doesn't make sense to me. What's up, Lunar? And Choice Designs, I see you backstage, but I think your mic is not on. So once you turn the mic on, it will allow me to bring you up. Yes, Lunar Love, I've seen you in the chat before. How's it going?
Good day. Good day, Mims. Good day, all. Well, I am not an American. I watch from another country. I watch your streams. But I'm coming just to say this. I don't want us as a people, Black people, I mean, to forget her, make her yesterday's news. I remember
Yeah,
as a teenager, there was a Caucasian lady that went missing in Aruba, and they did not let us forget her. They
I
press
remember that.
yeah, they press, her family press, everybody pressed for years and years and years, and they would not let us forget her name, Natalie Holloway.
Natalie
So
Holloway, yes, 2005.
for yeah, and we still remember her name. Can we remember any other black girl that went missing or was? They didn't even want us. Breonna Taylor. They didn't even want us to. They would say, "Oh, she deserved what she get because she stayed in a drug dealer." Blah blah blah. They didn't even want her to get justice. So we have to remember our people and push and fight for what we deserve. Now, we saw she's violently beaten on the video, spinal injury. It's clearly murder. So we have to push and keep on. I don't know if you have to appeal it or keep on asking another way for them to be criminally charged, but she deserves justice.
I think that if we make enough noise, to be honest with you, her death resonated with so many people that I think that it would have been pushed under the rug even more than it already is currently. I think that we, the public, made enough noise and generated enough concern for this young lady and her family that it forced them to do more. You know what I mean? I really do think that the people played a part in her getting any type of media attention, because I was reading up, and one of, and this is not me, this is something that I read. Black women are one of those unprotected classes of people. And that goes for little black girls that might be trafficked, black women who are murdered. And what has to happen is a change where we not only protect these women, lift them up, and make sure they know that we care. But I don't see that happening. This to me is just another instance of, well, it was just a little black girl.
Yes, I agree. And there's a thing that black black girls, black women tend to be painted, children, even male children be painted as adults in situations where they are actually of child age, where they're viewed as adults, and oh, they know better. They know better. They should do better. Whereas other people of other races, oh my God, they come from a background. They have mental illness. Oh my God, that's just a child. They don't know what they were doing. But us, we know better. So
Yeah.
for her, I don't want to put down we have to put down all the 50-50 talk, splitting the bill talk, Rocky and Tasha talk, and to let her start trending again, let her start getting traction again to bring attention back to her case because we cannot let this go
Oh, I
or let
just got
her
what
go.
you're saying.
What?
Let go of the Tasha and Rocky talk.
Yeah, yeah. Make her a trending topic again. Make her
She
go
needs
viral
to.
again, so we can get the justice we deserve for her. That's all I came to say.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, I see you in the chat. I welcome you guys to come up, share your feelings, because that's what literally a community is about. This is something that we don't know this young lady, but we felt like we knew her. We know her, Shanquella, and that's why her story resonates with the majority of us. You don't have to be a black person. You could be a person of color. You cannot be a person of color to see that this is literally a travesty of justice.
Yes,
And we do need to get her trending again. We need to get people talking about it, because that puts pressure not only on the federal prosecutors, but that puts pressure on local authorities as well. And when you have enough pressure being put at the city, state, and federal level, then that's when you get people like presidents, the Cory Bookers, the people who will then bring that to the president and say, you need to step in, and more needs to be done. You know what I
yes,
mean?
I agree. I was watching a TikTok earlier about a man that unalived his wife, and well, they couldn't catch him, but they brought a charge against him that probably could be brought against these people. It was called um, murder by omission, where he didn't seek the proper medical assistance for her to receive in time to save her life. Maybe they could bring that charge against them. I don't know. I'll have to look more into it. I didn't really look it up because this live just happened and that theory is new to me. But they could try everything, make sure she don't go unnoticed.
Eve B says your attention needs to be focused on Mexico, which does have jurisdiction over the case. I completely agree with you, Eve, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm unsure, because let's just be honest. There's a lot of going on with the cartels and things of that nature in Mexico. And the average Mexican citizens are just trying to make it home safe. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that they are going through their own turmoil. And that's why, in my mind, I was relying heavily on America to step in and do something for this young lady. So to me, yes, technically, maybe Mexico will get around to doing it, but there was so much fanfare around justice for her that I really thought that the US would be, play an integral part in getting her and her family justice. So that's why. But again, the link is open for anybody who wants to come up. We got to do the YouTube things. We got about 300 people in here. This was an impromptu live.
Okay, thank
I,
you, Mims, for allowing me to get up. I'm gonna
yeah,
leave and allow other people to speak their
anytime,
mind.
man. I appreciate it, especially the fact that you're not from America. So
No,
seeing
no, I'm from the
this,
Bahamas.
I mean, okay, but seeing this impacted you and you felt what Shanquella's family was going through, and I appreciate you speaking out. There was a young lady in the chat who actually went to school with her. Again, you can come up. You don't have to show your face or anything like that. But thank you, Luna. I appreciate you, y'all. I don't know what it means to say that there's not enough evidence to support them going further. I don't get it. I'm with you. Oh, that's a good point, Ingrid. She says once you get rid of women of a particular race, you get rid of the race. And it's not just black, it's people of color. If you're not a person of color, it's good to understand that so much has been done to people of color that sometimes you just feel like, okay, it's just one more thing. And I don't want that to be the case. If we can do anything to move the needle forward and for justice for this young lady, then I think that's what we should be doing. What is having a platform if you can't discuss things like this? If you can't bring light to like real issues, then there's no point in even like doing YouTube or the blogs or whatever. We have to be able to do something when one of our own comes up missing, when one of our own comes up unalived. So, uh, now keep in mind we can't be cursing in the chat because we are still, we are still on YouTube and they don't like certain words. Let's see where we are. We got over 300 in the chat. I'm seeing you guys. We only got like 150 likes. Please hit that like button. We still have to do the YouTube things. But the Cabo 6 has to be nervous. Not 2 live times. I hope that they are nervous, but the young lady who says that she's from North Carolina and went to school with Shanquella says that none of them are in North Carolina. They've all fled. Not 2 live times. Look, I saw this. Y'all know I've been having my own moment today, and I just decided to come and take this to you guys. Is it known which country is hindering the case from being prosecuted? Is it coming from the US or Mexico? To my knowledge, both countries were doing their own investigation. I hoped that the US was overseeing Mexico's investigation and they would do something in conjunction to extradite them and see that justice was served. So now I feel like the only country who is really investigating it and who is going to bring charges would be Mexico. But you guys got to remember, this was last year and she came back home unalive. So, what more would people need to see to understand that this was not just a fight? This was a homicide. I don't get it. Extradite them. Not I'm Mexican and I don't go to Mexico. I visited Mexico. I've been to Cancun a few times. It's really beautiful. The U.S. is at fault too. Can the family file a civil suit? But who would they file a civil suit against if they can't even bring charges? I mean, technically, maybe they could, but who would they be filing a civil suit against? The Cabo Six? Technically, OJ, was acquitted of the crime, but then the family filed a civil suit and won. So maybe they could. I don't know. That's something to look into. It's BS that this is happening. Good, they running for life. Stop vacation in Mexico. Yeah, please refrain from cursing in the chat and be creative with your curse words. Thank you, just simply. Tremaine says kidnapped and not found around the same time the 3 was kidnapped. This is getting crazy. Like it feels like they are. What happened to that lady the other day who was going for a BBL in Mexico and they tried to get them as well? I don't know. This is a lot. This is a whole lot. This is insanity. They both are at fault. Mexico tried to say it was alcohol poisoning, and the U.S. said okay. Mexico has treated this case like they didn't really care from the beginning and haven't given the family much at all. It's sad and disgusting. I get you. We're all there with you, Amanda. Just a reminder, Black women are not valued in America. Sometimes it feels that way. Definitely. Sometimes it feels that way. Too much covering up. I'm disappointed. Okay, so you guys are pretty much in the same headspace that I am. This was a really hard one to swallow, but I'll try to talk to Mario and see, what we can do to help. You guys can put in the chat if, they come up with something that we could do to help, like letters. Put in the chat if you would be willing to write a letter. I think they write them on like pink letterhead, like pink paper and pink envelopes, and then they send them to the state. Let me know if you guys would be willing to do that. It's really about grassroots. What people don't understand is they think, oh, well, this is a small situation, but grassroots build bridges. So it could turn in from one person seeking justice to then that voice strengthens to 1,000, then 10,000. We already know if you looked at YouTube around the time of this case, all of the coverage was really it was very highly publicized. What's up to you?
Hey, Sims.
How's it going? Sad
It's
day.
no, it is a sad day. I usually don't come on live because I'm just like I just sit in the corner and just kind of mind my business. But this is a very important topic just because she was no less than a human being. She was no
Right.
less than a human being. And as a people, when Black Lives Matter was happening and we were marching for George Floyd and all these black men, I'm not finding not one single person yelling at the top of their lungs about this. Just she was a beautiful person by all accounts. And she didn't deserve what she got, regardless of what happened. She didn't deserve what she got. I would think the US would at least charge them with manslaughter, unpopular opinion, because there had to be an intent for them to kill her. I don't think they intended to kill. I think it originally was like a plan of allegedly, because I got to be careful. Allegedly,
I mean, yeah, we are still on YouTube, but I'm enjoying
yeah.
what you're saying. Continue. Expound on your thought.
I think it was a plan of if she says something or if she does something I don't like, we're gonna fight, and that's what it turned out to be. And when things were when they found her, I allegedly think that they were panicked. But it's like if you're panicked, you would want to do the best for her. And I don't know what kind of laws or like what they could be charged with, because they knew she wasn't responsive, and they refused all medical help. And even when it was suggested for her to go to the hospital, in the documents it said they were pushing for her to not go to the hospital. And then they lied to her mother and said, because allegedly, but I have a strong suspicion they lied to her mother about medical, because you go to Mexico to get cheaper procedures. It makes no sense of why they would charge more for her to get emergency care. It doesn't make sense. Their story doesn't make sense. But Mexico has pretty much put the ball in their court and say, hey, look, this is all the evidence for her to be for anybody to be charged with. And the fact that America hasn't, like, just the judicial system hasn't said, okay, let's see what we could at least try to charge them with, if we cannot at least get first degree murder or second degree murder, because the law does get complicated, it gets murky. So I'm kind of trying to I'm trying to give everyone a fair chance.
No, that's okay. Hold that thought really quick.
Mhm.
Glenessa Galliard, she says she's an attorney. I just
Mhm.
dropped the link. Definitely come up and have the conversation with me and Tia. It would be appreciated. But continue your thought, Tia.
And like I said, she could correct me. Like, I want to know more, but it's like no one's really doing anything, but no one, like, we're not screaming at the top of our voice of get them charged, because I'm like all for them being charged in Mexico. I am all for it,
Mm-hmm.
but I just think we could do more as a community, because she is part of our community. She's part of the Black community. And we understand that she's not going to be protected like a Natalie Holloway. And let's make this very clear, Natalie Holloway did deserve to be protected.
Yes.
They all deserve to be protected, but it's the disparity that becomes an issue, because she was no less than a human, she was no less than a woman, and something horrible happened to her, and there were people there that should be held accountable regardless.
I'm definitely with you. I believe Glenessa is coming up. She says she's coming. I wonder, 'cause somebody made a good point, if it was a plan. I feel like typically when you hear something like that, oh no, nobody would plan that, and then you go to another country and do it. However, we just saw a daycare worker who
Yeah,
purposefully assaulted little children at the daycare that she worked and put it on social media.
yeah.
So I
And
don't
I'm
put
not,
anything past anybody at this
I don't
point.
I don't put anything past anybody at a point, but I'm saying, like, if we were hypothetically, like, this wasn't planned,
Hmm.
like the plan was just to beat her up really bad, allegedly, you still have accountability because something bad happened. She's no longer with us. So you're still held accountable for something, because they have to be able to prove it. If they can't prove it, it's hard to prosecute. But at the same time, I don't know what they have. So I'm saying, if we were going that premise, because I don't put anything past anybody, you know,
That's
but
valid.
but if we were to go by that premise, something bad did happen, but you did nothing.
That's definitely valid. Glenessa, thank you for joining us. If you guys are just coming in, we're talking about the fact that the U.S. will not press federal charges in the Shanquella case. Please do the YouTube things, like the video. It just lets YouTube know that we're here. Please enlighten us, Glenessa.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. I've been catching your stream for a while. I first have to start with I have, this is all for educational purposes. I'm not giving legal advice. Now
Definitely.
that I've said that piece, the issue in the case, because I've been following this case very closely, not only am I an attorney, I'm also a travel advisor, and I spend a lot of time in Mexico. And
Hmm.
so the issue is a jurisdictional issue regarding what the US can and cannot do. Because, and if you think about it, if somebody commits a crime in New York and they go to Georgia, they have to extradite them to New York in order for them to be prosecuted for that crime. It's the same thing. The crime happened in Mexico, it didn't happen in the United States. So the United States has no jurisdiction over what happened in Mexico. The way to get around that is if they can prove there was premeditation on US soil. Now you can say, so let's say they got together through text messages, whatever kind of means that is provable, that they said, okay, we're going to go and assault Shanquella once we get to Mexico. And I'm just breaking that down to the base, to the base sense. I hope that nobody does this, but people and do what they do. Then there's a nexus to the US soil, which now brings her death into US jurisdiction, regardless of where it happens, whether it be in Mexico or another country. We don't have that. And from what I know of this case, the US doesn't have that. So that means that Mexico has full jurisdiction on prosecution. Now, if Mexico decides to prosecute, I'm not sure, but I believe that there is an extradition treaty with Mexico. Whereas I'm pretty sure if Mexico is like, we want these people back, the U.S. is not gonna fight that. They're like, here, do what you need to do. But Mexico has to make that call. So everything in this case is really relying on Mexico and what Mexico wishes to do.
Now,
Now,
this,
go ahead.
sorry, really quick. So this is not legal advice. This is, we got that. What if Mexico fumbled the case? Because we heard many different stories. Autopsy was different. The crime scene wasn't, as pristine as it should have been. There were a lot of things that they have alleged that Mexico did not do correctly. When is the U.S. capable of saying we don't like this and then we need to step in? I mean, is that
They can say what they want, they can apply pressure. That's what happened with the Brittany Griner case, where the United States applied pressure to Russia, made a deal with Russia in order to get Brittany Griner back. But the US really has no say over what another jurisdiction, another country does and their laws and how they choose to prosecute their laws. But again, we do have different means to apply pressure to sort of coax them or get them to do what the US is looking for them to do. In this case, I'm not we can go into the whole Black lives, Black women, our lives matter, all of those things. But let's look at the US and its history. This is not a hill that the US is going to die on, and so that's unfortunate because they should go hard for all of their citizens. But we all know that the United States doesn't necessarily act in that way. So, but at the same time, yeah, they can apply pressure if they want to. That doesn't mean that Mexico is going to do what they want them to do. But
I
there
mean,
are
come on. I mean,
political
the
means
U.S.
to do
is
this.
one of the most powerful countries in the world. Mexico is our sister country in North America, and we do export and import a lot from there. There is power in
Right.
saying we're going to apply pressure, and it's just one person. So why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. We can apply pressure for a lot of different things. We can do petty stuff. We have whole wars. I'm not even getting into it,
I
but you know where I'm going with that,
I
about petty
wholly
stuff.
agree with you. But also look at the politics. They just dismissed two young men of color in Tennessee for speaking up against school shootings, speaking up against kids, speaking for kids. So a Black woman gets killed by other people of color in Mexico. How important on that totem pole is it to the United States
That's why we have to keep
based on our
making noise,
history?
guys. That's why we have to keep making noise, because when you have enough of a push and enough people perform these grassroots efforts, people start to listen. You don't have a choice.
No, I totally
There's something
agree.
there.
And as far as the civil suit, I believe that the Shanquella's family does have a basis for a civil suit, just as you stated. Even though um, whatchamacallit, even though OJ was acquitted of the crime of murder, he still was found liable for their death. Um, oh, okay.
K Bragg,
Think
thank you
it's
so much for the super chat.
okay.
She says the Robinson family attorney just had a press conference a few moments ago. Mexico did their part. The U.S. is playing games.
Yeah, I
I'll
want to
have to
see the
check that
press
out.
conference and see what he says.
Thank you, K Bragg. Callie, did you want to jump in?
No, I'm just, to be honest with this whole case, is very strange to me because I just don't understand what it benefits anybody to protect these people. Because we can just say it's racism, but at the end of the day, they are protecting a group of Black people that are probably guilty. Why? I have no idea. Send them back to Mexico and just let Mexico do whatever they're going to do with them. I don't really understand. I guess there's just something legally that I just don't understand that's going on between the US and Mexico, that they just feel like they have to protect any American citizen from being prosecuted in Mexico. That is the only thing I could think of.
So the thing is, the question is, did Mexico, and I'm looking that up now, did they ask for an extradition? Because I haven't heard that.
I haven't
Did they
either.
ask for an extradition of these
To be
people?
honest, I didn't see the press conference that either just ended or is going on now. From what I am hearing, Mexico is saying that the United States is the problem. I don't know if that's true because I didn't see the press conference.
They need to get it together. What am I missing? These
Well,
parents just had to bury their daughter.
the
What do
screw
you
up
mean
is
there's
that
no evidence?
they allowed those people to leave the country when someone was suspiciously found unalived in the hotel suite with them. That is where the mistake was made. They should have never been allowed to leave the country until an investigation was conducted. That is where everything just went left. And to be honest, I don't feel any sympathy for these people. I think these people are in their mid-20s. They are not teenagers. They should be old enough to know that you can end someone's life in this way. I don't feel that they need to be protected. They need to go to jail.
Okay, so they did. So I'm reading up in the Charlotte Observer. I did not know this. The authorities did issue arrest warrants for those people last year. So I'm not understanding why they're not extraditing them back to Mexico. I agree.
Because the
If
United
they
States is
actually,
protecting them. But why? I don't know.
there's no reason to. I agree with that.
There has to be some legal reason. Like
I don't
maybe
believe there is.
some sort of thing that they have that they don't want to create this issue where this is able to happen to American citizens. You understand what I'm saying? Like once this door is open, now this case sets a precedent that Mexico can then do things to American citizens that are on American soil. So maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's something diplomatic that's going on. But I feel like the mistake that was made is when they were allowed to leave the country. That should have never, ever happened. And I hope that it never happens again.
I agree. But it also looks like the whatchamacallit, the arrest warrant was only for one of them. And that is for Dejanay Jackson. Not all of them.
Well, the thing is, I don't know what the law is in Mexico. It's very possible they didn't break the law in Mexico. Unfortunately, I mean, my feeling is that they aided and abetted and they covered up what happened to her and that they should go be prosecuted for something. But I don't know enough about the laws in Mexico to even know if that's even possible.
We know enough to know that when the U.S. wants to apply pressure, they can and do.
That's
true. Yeah, I don't think that they are doing that at all here. I think it was like, okay.
They're doing the opposite. They're protecting these people because they're American citizens. And I'm sorry to say, I'm not convinced that anything is going to happen to these people. It might be something karmically might happen to them. But at this point, I'm not convinced that anything is going to happen to them. I think that they got away with it the minute they got on that plane.
Somebody says that the issue is that in Mexico, what happened is considered femicide, and we don't necessarily have the same crime here. Does that sound?
Well, that's like what they charged them with.
In Mexico,
they charged them femicide, but it's similar to homicide. So it's the similar law. So even though it's named differently, even though it's named differently, it's the same thing. But yeah, I'm just.
At this point, I do think that they should do the civil suit because at least they should be in debt for the rest of their lives. Because how this would work is that their wages would be garnished forever.
Right.
Not enough. Not enough.
This is
No,
why
it's
a
never
lot of
it's never
times,
enough.
It's not enough because Shanquella's not there. They can't get grandchildren. They can't get, you know, they're missing out on a lot. Like, they're going to be able to have children if they so please. No amount of money is going to fix that. The only way they're going to be able to pay is if they're behind bars for the rest of their lives.
no, I agree. I think that the crime was not committed here. I think the least they could do is look for her.
Yeah, but I think also like a lot
Yeah.
of misinformation was going around because I also heard that they did the extradition, but it wasn't true, or it's just like I
No,
always
that
thought.
wasn't real. There was this man that basically was trying to get clicks and views for her to be a reporter in Mexico. He turned out to be a fraud.
Okay,
Got
that
it.
makes sense.
Understanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look like they actually, even though they filed a arrest warrant, it doesn't look like they went through the process of asking them to be extradited. Now, that doesn't mean that the US can't just say, okay, you have an arrest warrant. And that's the same thing. Like, you can have an arrest warrant in a jurisdiction, but if they don't ask for your extradited, there's nothing in process for another jurisdiction to pick you up and bring you to the next jurisdiction. So filing an arrest warrant is one thing. That just means that she can't go back to Mexico, or if she, at any time ever. But until they actually put in the paperwork and file for extradition, the U.S. isn't going to budge on that. And it doesn't sound like in anything that I'm reading that Mexico has done that. And that's another thing that I would question Mexico on. What is the point of filing an arrest warrant? Is it because you don't want people to stop traveling down there, so make it look like you're trying to do something? Because
This
that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. In regards to the super chat, this whole case scares me because I could definitely see people taking their spouses on vacation to Mexico, getting rid of them for insurance money, and returning to the United States and nothing happening to them.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the super chat, K Bragg. Callie just responded. The question was, that's such a dumb precedent, though, Callie, because they are setting a precedent that you can go overseas and do things to American citizens and get away with it as long as you make it back here.
Yep. I agree. It is
No.
stupid. But
Thank
that's
you,
the only
K-Bragg.
thing I could possibly think of as to why they're protecting these people.
No, I agree as well. And I believe that at this point, I understand that the civil suit isn't going to,
Hold on, Tia, when you're not talking, please mute.
okay. Yeah, I understand that the civil suit is not going to bring her back. Like, nothing can bring Shanquella back, and nothing can stop that pain from her family. But also getting, because Shanquella was on her way to becoming very financially successful. And the one thing that civil suits taken into consideration, especially wrongful death suits,
Future
uh,
earnings.
future earnings. Right. So if they're getting on the hook for millions of dollars, for the rest of their lives, and they're in their 20s, they're going to remember every time they cash a check, every time they go to pay a bill, every time, they're never going to forget what happened to that young woman and their part in it. And
Tia,
that may not give full solace, but it is something, because right now they're getting nothing.
Tia, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was more saying I just keep seeing like both fingers pointing at each other. Well, like I have it's the US's problem, but Mexico didn't do this. I don't understand. If that makes sense. Like, I don't understand why it's like, why is it a blame game when neither one of them is really have any accountability, if that makes sense. It's just going really slow when they have all this evidence.
I don't think it's going at all. I don't think nothing's going to happen to these people at this point. Because what more evidence can come forward? There is a man who worked at the resort that said that they seemed to be very weird to him. They seemed to be laughing like they didn't even care if she had passed away. Like, there are witnesses, a character and otherwise. Like, there's no more evidence. If they were going to do something to these people, they would have done it.
You know what I was thinking about? Whenever something happens with anybody, what's the first thing they do? A press tour. if you are innocent, even if you want to play innocent, you will do a press tour and shout to the mountains, well, this is what happened. I can't say this, but I can tell you I'm innocent. They'd be talking to Gail King. There would be press.
Not Gail
The,
King.
the these
Or
people
Robin
have
Roberts, some person. Yeah.
there would be a press tour. None of them have done that. And the press has been trying to reach out. If you've gone into hiding, I think there's probably a reason for that. And it's more than just, oh, the court of public opinion. You would be trying to sway the court of public opinion. But you know why they're not doing that? Because they know Mexico is not going to do anything. And now they know America isn't. So they can just go on and be wherever they're at and live
Yeah,
in obscurity.
they're not afraid of going to jail. I think that they
Mm-hmm.
have talked to attorneys that probably know a lot more about the law than we do. And those attorneys have probably told them nothing's going to happen to you. I think there's something about the law that we're not understanding here. And I think there's something legal happening as to why, and whatever it is, it needs to be changed. Because, like I said, I can see droves of people saying, let's get married and go to Mexico, and I'm going to take out a $5 million insurance policy, and you're not going to come back. You know what I mean? I could just totally see.
But people have done that, and that's the thing. People
Yeah.
have done that, and so at this point, that there are points in the law, and there's things that people have to do to trigger the next, and that's the issue here. And it doesn't look like Mexico, to be honest, has done what they needed to do to trigger and expedite somebody to be expedited. Can the U.S. voluntarily? Oh, there's an arrest warrant. I'm gonna come pick you up and bring you. Yeah, but generally they don't.
I wish there was an attorney, like an attorney, international attorney watching that understands these laws.
Yeah.
Because can they do that is the question.
Sorry, Jamie. Jamie did lose a loved one to murder, so he understands exactly.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
This is horrible. I feel so sorry for her family. This is why a lot of times people go outside of the law because of weird stuff like this.
Not some hood justice.
Hey.
Look, they and them come in handy sometimes.
Would not be around to be sent anywhere. They would be missing. But this is the thing. I feel that what happened to her was not premeditated. I think that you have a generation of people that grew up watching Bad Girls Club and loving hip hop, where people are fighting and nothing bad happens because those fights are staged usually. But they don't understand that those fights are staged. They don't understand that these people have already signed releases. There's security that comes and makes sure no one gets seriously injured. That is not real life, what you're seeing on those shows. They're going on, that's almost like the WWE. They're going on those shows with the intent to fight, and it's all agreed upon. It's in real life, because y'all all know I was arrested when I was 19 years old for fighting somebody. So I know full well that getting into a fight does not work the way it works on these reality shows. I don't think it's premeditated. I just think
I'm not sure if I agree with that, and here's why. Like, the attacks happened to this young lady almost immediately when they made it to Mexico. They didn't have enough time to get a good swim in the pool before they was attacking this young lady.
But the thing is, you grew up.
Hold on, we gotta let her finish her thought, Carrie.
And it felt very ambushed, and the fact that people had their phones ready to go. Like, it wasn't like, oh, what's happening over there, and then go grabbing your phone. No, they attacked this young lady. She was stark naked, I believe she was coming out of the shower. I could be wrong. And the phones were at the ready. There was planning involved there, whether the plan happened in the United States or the plan happened, on the way, plane, or when they touched down. They wasn't there but 5 minutes before this happened. So there was definitely a plan. Now, I don't know when it happened, but there was a plan. And these young people, unfortunately, they weren't her friends.
No.
And none of them, and the one that's supposed to have been her friend for so many years, they weren't. That person should have been the first person to be like, no, stop, we're not going to do this. And he was the first one on the phone talking about fight back. Those people were not her friends. And it's so unfortunate that she had to that lesson was learned in such a tragic manner. But I believe that they planned it. I believe it is definitely a plan. I don't think that I don't believe that they intended to kill her, but
Well,
they
that's what
did
I mean.
plan to did plan to assault her in some way, shape, or form.
No, I think they thought that this was just going to be a fight like they see on Bad Girls Club or Zeus Network or whatever. They were going to fight and everybody was going to go on with their life and everyone was going to be fine and there would be no consequences because that's what happens on these reality shows that have been on TV for 20 years now.
Well, she said she didn't want to fight. She said, I don't want to fight. They said, Quilla, fight back. And she's like, I'm not. Like, that should have been enough.
JP, hold on one second. We got somebody new on the panel. JP, did you want to chime in?
Oh yeah, good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. I just wanted to express the concern about maybe this is political in a way that a lot of us just aren't looking at because none of this makes sense, right? Do we know the connections that these other young ladies have? You know, who are they connected to that would be able to provide this type of coverage to where they just went silent? You know, I think that's just a piece that's missing, and it seems like no one is really talking about who they are and where they came from, and why is it that they're able to just kind of disappear? You know,
That is true.
That's a different angle.
Yeah. How have they been able to just disappear? How has no reporter or YouTuber or paparazzi or anybody found these people? Like, where are they?
And how are they surviving without working or anything else?
Exactly.
How are they
Right.
surviving without being
I
in
can see
any
one
form of a public
person
eye?
being able to do that. Maybe they have a family member that lives in a rural area. I don't see this many people being able to do that.
Yeah, not all 6.
Yeah.
JP then came in and shook the table.
Are they
Well, you
in this
know,
country? You know what I
just
mean?
think
Are they even still here? Because their passports haven't been taken. They could have very well left.
see
That's
that was
true.
my angle too. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. It's are they? Do we don't know where they are? We are assuming that they're here in America, right? But we don't know where they are because there's just no record. There's nothing happening. Like you said, they're not showing up at work. They're not being active on social media. There's nothing going on that ties them to anything. And it just makes me just wonder. It may take some of these reporters who are really hungry for a story to dig deep and be willing to get out there and really go deep into this to expose who's really behind this. I just think it's bigger than anything that anybody's looking at. We're so busy being upset about what's not happening, which we all rightfully so because it's wrong. But sometimes in our anger, we miss the simple things because we're acting out of emotion. I think that we just need to sit back and really look at this from a calm perspective so we can see what's probably right in front of our eyes.
You're absolutely right. I wonder if someone is related to someone that works in law enforcement, FBI, someone helped these people disappear because there is a reporter that has been very heavily into this, that is in the area where they all live. And the fact that he has not found these people is very suspicious to me. Or the fact that no one has found these people.
Somebody says that a local news reporter did find one of the girls and confronted her outside of her job at a strip mall. How long ago was that?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I would be interested to know how long that was, and maybe I'll start looking into this kind of stuff when I have a little bit more time. But this really took me out. I was like, well, dang, one more chip that fell, and it wasn't in the direction of justice for this girl. Or, can you imagine you send your child they didn't send their child, but your child goes just on a trip. The expectation is they're going to come back with a souvenir for you, maybe a tattoo, you know what I mean? A story or two to tell you. Now you don't have any of that. And the country that you pay your taxes to, the country that you've lived your whole life in is now telling you, well, we can't really help you out because it's legal red tape. And we're going to have another country, support you in the way that they can, but we're out. We washed our hands of it. That's messed up. K Bragg says YouTube needs to find them if the authorities and MIMS won't do it.
Ah!
They're going to call it Operation Hood Booger.
Look,
I'm down
let's
for
shout
justice
out
for Shanquella.
Let's get down. Let's
Thank you, K
give our
Bragg.
hands for like the YouTubers that kept up with this story, that's been like reporting on it nonstop. Let's just like give a hand to them, because I know like when like it first happened, I would just get flooded. And I still get flooded. You know, YouTubers still reporting on this story. So let's just give a shout out and their flowers to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you guys have at least kept the story alive. I know I sound very doom and gloom, but I'm just starting to feel like at this point, there's nothing more that can come out. They have all of the evidence. If they were going to do something, they would be doing it. I think they're trying to wait for us to forget about it and go away. I don't know if that's going to happen in this day and age of social media, but the other guy, he has a very good point. How are these people able to just disappear like this? So that is something that somebody really needs to be looking into. Are they under some type of protective custody from the federal government? Is that what's going on here? Have they left and gone to like Jamaica somewhere or something? Because they all know each other. They could very well concoct a plan to just skip town.
I want you guys to look at this. This is super interesting. This news dropped a few hours ago, right? Typically, the way Google works is you're going to see Fox News, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNN. Google is going to push those people out because those major outlets pay them, right? Whenever you get breaking news and you wonder, okay, well, how did this source get top billing? It's because they pay Google.
Yeah.
So you see New York Post, CBS, another CBS, and a lot of smaller publications. The major people aren't even really covering it. You should see ABC, NBC, in NBC, Fox News, all of those should be there, and it's not. That tells you everything that you need to know. And we might see it as ever presence because a lot of YouTubers cover it. But if the major media outlets aren't, and that's breaking news, that's a problem. You see, you know what I mean?
And my question is, why aren't they covering it? Because the thing is, people can just say racism, racism, but the thing is, they operate on ratings. We all know. Let's just be real. Black women can bring ratings. So I don't know what is going on here. I think there's some type of legal diplomatic issue involved in this case that we just don't understand the reason. There's some kind of law or treaty or something happening that they can't just send those people back to Mexico, and they don't want to tell us because they know that it's going to upset people. So they're trying to wait for us to forget about it.
K
Well, you know,
Bragg
Mel,
says, hold on one second. Mexico can't get I can't say that, to grab them. What is doing? I'm not advocating extrajudicial action, but thank you, K Bragg. K Bragg is fired up. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. What were you saying, JP?
I was going to say that I know that, especially like in the comments, just across America, period, there are a lot of people upset, right? And there are a lot of people that are just want to dismiss even the idea of having these different theories, these different conversations, and want to cut straight to the chase that this is once again a Black American who has been mistreated, has been unalived, and nothing is happening. But I think we have to really think about it and look at the fact that you need these conversations to happen. You need these different theories to be thrown out there. You're not going to shake the table unless you can reach the table. And the only way you reach the table is by having conversations. And if no one is allowing anybody to have conversations, like me, I'm sure allowing this conversation, someone's going to see this. Someone else is going to see this. You don't know who is going to inspire to go ahead and keep going. The worst thing we could do is just accept that it's another Black woman whose life is gone, another Black American who has died and nothing happened, and just move on with life. The conversation is through the resiliency of it all that we can possibly get a resolve, but we just can't just go ahead and just chalk it off as here goes another one. You know what I mean? The conversations have to keep happening.
Like I said, I'm going to reach out to Mario, who does like the grassroots, to keep her name out there. I'll reach out to him and see exactly what we, the straight shooters, can do to help facilitate something, anything.
They need to at least explain to us, the American public, why this is happening. Because we can say that, oh, you know, this Black woman lost her life and no one's doing anything, but also there's a group of Black people that were involved in taking her life that seem to be being protected by the United States government. Why? So I don't know. I hope that there is some way to arrest at least the person who actually threw the blows that took her life, if they're not able to get the other people. I hope that there is something that they can do. But to be honest, at this point, it's kind of starting to seem like they can't do it, and they're not telling us why.
Okay, guys. Like I said, I'm definitely going to reach out, see what we can do to help grassroots. I would definitely write a letter if that's what they're wanting, and do what we can to keep this story alive. I appreciate you guys coming. I know this isn't like my normal time, but when stuff like this pops off, I'm gonna start do this. I'm gonna start doing these kind of lives more, seeing what you guys have to say, open it up, and I thank you guys for being here. Like the video on your way out, and I will see you later. Thank you guys for
Much
coming up on the
appreciated.
panel.
Have a good day,
Galanessa,
everyone.
have a good day. It's me, JP. Galanessa, hit me up on Insta. Make it make sense now. DM
Okay.
me and we'll talk. I really appreciated your point of view. Tia, it was a pleasure. And Callie Nolia, as always, you come in and you shake the table. So for everybody else,
All
see
right.
you later. We're now at 41,000 strong. So thank you guys. Thank you for all the new subscribers. We're on the road to 50K. We can make things happen. And the difference between the straight shooters and a lot of other people is we're shady fair, but we have like big hearts and we don't just come for the mess. We're here for it all. And I hope that we keep building. So see you guys later.